So I've been contemplating the 43rd gene key today. That's the codon in our DNA that governs the creative rebel inside each of us. That burning fire of unique expression that wants to come out into the world. And in fact, must come out into the world in order for us to have a thriving world. We need to allow all of our individual creative expressions to come out and work together in alchemy. You know, the conflicting opinions and different perspectives and whatever they are to come together and play their characters so that we can create the heat and the friction for mutation so the evolution of our consciousness can continue and we can watch the greatest show there ever was in this galaxy. And so it got me thinking about the butterfly and the chrysalis in its cocoon. And so when you think about a butterfly, you know, it's this caterpillar. You know, we've all been caterpillars and we've all crawled up and we've created this cocoon. And when a caterpillar goes into the cocoon, it actually goes through a death of its kind. Its DNA begins to change. It begins to become like a molten kind of glob. And then its cells change and the imaginary cells come in and begin to spark this new thought form of new potential, of this new greatness. And so within this darkness, the caterpillar in its cocoon begins to be inspired by these imaginary cells to be something bigger. This is like the 43rd gene key that is inside us, and you can feel it. It's part of you that sometimes wishes you can't, I'm sure. That wish you would just shut up so that you could stop feeling the discomfort knowing that you need to express something that is very different to everybody else. Just as the caterpillar is about to become a butterfly, an incredibly unique butterfly. And so I was contemplating this, that when a butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, it actually needs to struggle and break the cocoon. And the actual process of breaking out of the cocoon is the very thing that gives strength to its wings, gets the blood pumping through the wings and gets it strong enough so that when it first leaps off that branch, the wings will work and it can fly and it can survive and thrive. And it's strong enough to handle the challenges that will come with showing its exquisite color to the world. Now, if you cut a butterfly, if you take the cocoon and instead of letting it struggle, but instead you cut that cocoon open and gently open it up and release the butterfly without a struggle, do you know what happens to it? It dies. Because it does not experience the contractions and the intensity that it needs to get the wings working. So when you cut it open and release it, it misses out on the challenge that helps it get strong enough. And so prematurely it comes into the world and it just falls off the branch and then it dies. Not a very pleasant death. Even though, you know, in our nature we want to support those that are struggling, it's worth considering this analogy of the butterfly and the cocoon. That in order for us to be able to be strong enough in this current time to really express ourselves, then each of us needs to be honored and be allowed to go through our struggles and not to be cut open from our cocoons and try to be rescued. To not over-regulate and create so many rules to ensure that everybody can be cut out of their cocoons, because then you end up with some very weak and soft butterflies that simply don't have the strength because they weren't given the training. So I'll leave that to you to contemplate in how you feel and how you see that playing out in the world, especially around the way where we're kind of handling things at the moment in social media and political correctness and all these different things. How do we find that balance? How do we find the balance and how do we support people? How do we support those butterflies that are breaking out of their cocoons without taking away the experience of the breaking out of the cocoon? So that'll be my contemplation for this week, and one I invite you to consider. And feel free to comment under this video with your thoughts on this. And let's I'll see you next week with the next contemplation.